Okay, now we have the third one of this morning. Okay, we have Hu Yu Chang aka Slayer that will present to us the form and map based on mobile tool for survey and validation. Thanks.
Hi, thank you. Morning. Hi, it's so honored and so delighted to be here to give this talk. So I'm Zhuang Guoyu, and I came from Taiwan, and so also with my co-founder of the GeoThings Venus there at the corner. And we are kind of like a group of tech geeks trying to do some of the ICT tools like a mobile application and the webs to do something related to OpenStreetMap data. So, something about us is we were the trusted developer of Ushahidi. That's several years ago, 2012. And we also the development partner of Shahana. That's another open source software that is specific for the disaster response and the management. And also we are the standard editor and the contributor of OGC and the ITU for the OpenGeoSMS and the Q.3615, which is very simple. I think that's the shortest OGC standard ever. Only 7 pages, including the cover pages. It is just saying that you can encode the coordinates along with the SMS and send it out to make it standardized, and the other application, other websites can easily understand where are the coordinates and what will be the context and so on. So that's the standard. And also me, Slayer, was the board director of HOT for 2017, and also we actively participated in OSM and the HOT community. So now we are to talk something like private software here, stay up the map. Hey, how dare you, traitor. Now, I'm just thinking that it's kind of like I don't know if that's okay, private software here, but we are thinking something different. So I would like to start with this story, which is like a lesson that we learned according to the pilot project that we co-work with the Asian Development Bank. So this project, TA8884, was a kind of like aim to using ICT software and also the spatial technology to enhance, to strengthen the disaster resilience and deploy to Armenia, Bangladesh, Philippines, and Fiji. So we are kind of like we do the OpenStreetMap and Mapathon. We also do the field validation with the local community, and we also do the evacuation planning with the community. So that is one of the outcomes that we co-work with community to generate based on the OpenStreetMap data and also the discussion, and then we can come up with the evacuation map. That means if there's a flooded, if there's some emergency situation, who should go to where? Where is the shelter? Where is the safe place that we should run into? And so on. So it's not only for the like a visitor or even for the local participant, the local community. Some of us, I have no idea before. I have no idea about where is the nearest shelter near my house, and not to mention that if I were here as a visitor, so if there's an earthquake or something like that, where I should run for, I don't know. So we do the Mapathon, so we have a base map with a lot of like a building shape layer according to the high resolution satellite imagery. And this is the reason why we should do further about the field validation and the field survey. Not about that, not only about that cute little girls that we met during the field survey, but also, did you notice that there's a certain height of the floor, ground floor of that building? So, because this area is kind of usually flooded by the river. So if there's like a heavy rain and so on, it gets flooded. So some of the building, or most of the building, have this kind of like height. And then we think about how we can take this information on OpenStreetMap. So of course, we prepared OpenStreetMap applications, the application that can link with OpenStreetMap tagging. And then we post some of the proposal and have some discussion. But still, it's kind of like not that easy to make all those local content into the OpenStreetMap tag. So we do this kinds of like a survey, as many as we can. Just like then we do the analysis, like you have a green building which has the material attached on it. So the participant can go out and use the application and stand right in front of the building to know the material, the structure, and also the advantage or the disadvantage of the, like against the disaster. That kinds of information. You can take a picture, you can use audio log, and so on. So that is one of the pictures that impressed me, which is, it says that unsafe roof structure, and then you use some of the stone to enhance the structure, like that. So, also, more information here is about if this environment, this location, or this area has ever been flooded or not. You can have this kinds of like a questionnaire, and you still also go out, ask the local villagers and the residents and so on, and collect those information. Of course, along with those picture, audio log, and so on. I keep saying audio log is the thing that we met in Armenia during the winter. Is a heavy snow day, and it's really not easy to type in character there. So we just use audio log, so that will be easier to record the information. So for the environment information, we can log something like a flooded before, or what kinds of like a flood type, early warning available, and so on. And also about the road evacuation, like evacuation details. So the previous slide introduced some information we collect according to the environment. And on the way to the shelter, on the way to some safe ground, is there anything that we should pay attention to? So something like the road condition, and the stair condition, if there's stairs, and is there like a sudden depressions and possible barrier, and so on, some dangerous barrier, and so on. So those things we haven't completely know how to map that to the OpenStreetMap. But we would like to really keep the discussion going on with the community to know how we can really turn those information onto the OpenStreetMap. And also, according to those information, you can analyze, and then you can come up with this kinds of like a drill plan, which was held in Fiji. So if you can have this kinds of like evacuation zone and the potential affect area and so on. So this is the result. The outcome. So I would like to quickly show that how the National Disaster Management Office, NDMO of Fiji, how they respond to use this kinds of ICT tool and to work with their tsunami drill.
Part of the app, there was a system in the app that could allow for real-time exchange of information that we decided to test out on the app with the schools to track where the students were moving and whether we could communicate with the teachers through the app, because the traditional system is to use the radio telephone or to use mobile phones. One of the areas we tried to explore through the tsunami drill was the use of the app for real-time exchange of information.
It's one thing is to get to a safe zone. The other thing is for you to communicate to get assistance. So that is important as well. So that's one of the fundamental things of having this mobile application, especially in this day and age. Because some people, it's not easy to convince people that this is the right tool, one of the right tools for you to use when you're in an emergency. Most of us just use the transistor radios, but that's just a one-way communication from the advisors to you for you to make your decisions. But with the mobile application, it allows you or any person to be able to update the Emergency Operations Center on your situation or the kind of assistance you want.
So we have to remain here until further notice. on the day of the drill, we managed to meet our time. The time for plan for the exit of Super Grammar School was 7 minutes. But by using the app and all the things that were put on across through the team, we managed to meet our target of 5 minutes, 34 seconds. So we were able to actually supersede the required time for the exit for our tsunami drill.
Yep, 7 minutes to 5 minutes 34 seconds. Using that kinds of like coordinations and information exchange, all those information based on OpenStreetMap base map, which they collect before in the mapathon, in the field survey, and so on. So here's some of the screenshots of the drill itself, like a resource dispatching, and during the evacuations. So we know that Hart also did a lot of good job in Africa. There's no village information at all before, but currently in some of the developing area, we also run that into that kinds of issue too. So that's the beauty of the OpenStreetMap. We can really input those buildings and have the information geotag that allows the responders to know where they should go. Before, in Fiji, it's more like they don't have an address. Some of the villages, they don't have the address. So you don't have like a number 124, some street, 24th Street, and so on. You have only like a Slayer's house in this village. And there will be some coordinator, like if you deliver the package, you will say, hey, this package is for Slayer, and that coordinator will deliver that package to you. So it's quite different when we introduce this kinds of like OpenStreetMap data and also integrated with mobile phone. It's kind of like different than before. So then they don't need to only depend on the mobile phone telephone communication, which is like, oh, somebody's house is on fire, you should go there first. But sometimes the firefighter get to the wrong location and then need to reroute again. That's the real response from the firefighter department. So yes, it's just like an evacuation, and then you can have the latest status streaming to the emergency operation center. So till now, I think there's something like okay, we have the open data kit and the open map kit. We love those open source kit. But I don't know.
Trust. There's a reason why people don't stay where they are. Baby, sometimes love just ain't enough.
No, I'm just kidding. We love the open source project. So I don't know if I will get sued because that is another kind of like a license. Next time I will perform with my band. So we have this kind of application designed, which is we are trying to deliver some straightforward UI with like a remote, a big icon, and you can see all the OpenStreetMap object what's on it. And you can view that from the 2D, 3D mode, and so on. And you can hover the crosshairs to one of the building, maybe. If you would like to do some of the damage assessment or building details update and so on. And then smoothly integrate something like a Google Form or the form style things. We preload the existing OpenStreetMap text onto this form. So you don't need to okay, I really need to remember the building name of this building and so on, but it's already preloaded, and then you can complete the incomplete information simply with this style. And of course, you can attach photo, you can attach audio log and reposition it from this application to do further stuff. And it also supports the geo-SMS, the geotagged SMS that we mentioned before, which allows you to update the latest survey information through SMS without synchronize the photo directly. Once you have the internet connection, broadband access, you can synchronize with the rich media like a photo. But with the point, with the coordinates about this building, you can synchronize with SMS first. That's very good for some rural area. So we also have this kinds of like group creation and form creation simple UI. That means you can have a kind of like a group and start with this group. You can create the category. You can have something like, do you want to have a form to this category or the visible to only the administrator and get a notification when there's an incoming report. That means if you are the GIS specialist in this group, you can get the notifications. You can set up the notification. Once people submit the like a building update information, you will get the notification, a mobile push notification. And if you are the firefighter, once people report the category about the fire incident and so on, you will get the notification. So it's kind of like an information dispatching. And then you can customize your survey form, just like this. So it's kind of like a small, but we use the example from the Black, this, our good friend of Hart. So he proposed the damage tagging protocol, which has the damage conditions, which is major, minor, or cost of the event, type of the event, assessment type, and so on. Those are proposed OSM tag, and that you can easily customize your survey form, both are based on those kinds of proposal. So we are trying to make this kinds of usage even easier. So this is the time watching that we had in Taiwan, and we co-work with community. And the best part I love is at the right corner one. The grandmother with his granddaughter go out to collect the environmental information and so on. So we would love to collect those information, make this tool easier for the people, and contribute those information to OSM. And of course, for the disaster information, now it's kind of like a different. So we co-work with, team up with Girl Scouts of Taiwan, so they can report something like this. So I took a picture yesterday during lunch. So I use that as a shelter information. So we need the support of the electricity. At least about 100 people here evacuated at this location in this university, and the situation is like this. The cause of this evacuation is earthquake and so on. So much easier to get the structure information and with the multimedia like photos and so on. And then I would like to show this is one of the case that was done by our community leader. This was not done by the GeoThings, but it was done by this community leader. So he would like to show something like we are using something high tech. So I'm really impressed that they do this kinds of like a video, and so they are thinking that using the applications and with the map. A lot of information they collect during the time watchings, and they are trying to doing this just like a minority report. And on the website, we also provide this kinds of real-time streaming. So, you know, disaster is not only about one area or one location. So this community leader, he teamed up with other community together to get the real-time streaming information, so they can really deal with the disaster information based on OpenStreetMap, which in the real time. So we're thinking about the key of those things would be self-sustainable, because some of the local government and the community, they doesn't have the ICT officer, so it's really not easy for them to set up all the like ODK server, OMK servers, and the service to run the services, or even to update the application, like iOS updated, Android updated, and so on. It's really not easy. And the sustainable services should not be deployed by project-based funding. It's kind of like you have done this 6 months or 1 year, and then you go away. It's kind of So we are thinking that something different. Maybe we can push further with a group of great developers that we formed and team up, and they thought this is meaningful. Okay, work together, and we have a full like a control. We allow the user to get a full control of the data, which means everything you collect is not a proprietary data by someone. You can easily export that within like a GeoJSON, KML, and so on. So you can, of course, you can choose it to make it like a private or public. So we're trying to make this platform more like sophisticated and the ease of use, but we are still struggling on the with the proper OSM tagging. Now we kind of like integrate a lot of things, but still we would like to contribute those information. Kind of like a complicated, but that would be very useful for enhancing the disaster resilience. So yes, that's our thoughts with example and Slayer and Venus Slayer, and any question and comments?
Okay, thank you very much. If someone has some question?
Hello, my name is Frederick and I am with the OpenStreetMap Data Working Group. Thank you for your talk. I have a small request. Your application is one application that can add data to OpenStreetMap. In the past, we had some issues with users of an early version of your application who were like adding hundreds of buildings in the same location because there were some bugs. And it's not a big deal. I mean, any application can have bugs. But it would be very helpful if your application is used in the context of a particular project, like, okay, this is the Fiji something something project. It would be super helpful if change that's created with an application like that had an extra tag that would say, okay, this is in the context of the so-and-so project, and then maybe a wiki page or anything where you can actually check, okay, these are the people behind the project, these are the people that I can contact when I see a problem. Because that's, and I'm saying that publicly not to complain, but as a suggestion to everyone who's making applications like yours that can add data to OpenStreetMap. Always keep in mind that other people will see the data and will want to work with it, and it's very, very helpful to know what project in the course of what project has the data been added, who are the people behind it, whom can I talk to if I see a problem. So maybe I assume that you're rolling out your application for particular projects and maybe making modifications or something for say maybe the ADB people contact you and say, we want to use your application in project X. And then maybe if you could ensure that an extra tag is added that says, okay, this is project X something. So that would be super helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because that is a very important lesson we learned from the previous one. Because of some like abnormal situation, we are trying to handle like online, offline situation, and that results in the redundant submission and cause that problem. So sorry for that. And then we quickly update our application, and then we also really accept the advice from you. So we now not only remark this is from this application, but also remark from maybe this is from the certain project and so on. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes.
Hey Slayer, thanks for the work that you and Dong Po, did I scare you? Did I wake you up? Awesome. Thanks for the work that you and Dong Po and Pumin are doing in the larger State of the Map Taiwan community. I think it's really exciting how integrated it is with the government. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about that, because you mentioned Fiji with this app, but I think it's really exciting how you guys have worked with the schools and stuff. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how you reach within the official institutions.
So reach out to the government and so on?
So how you guys have integrated, how you've integrated within that in Taiwan.
Okay, that would Thank you. Because that is a really nice question. For case of Fiji, it's kind of like everything started from the beginning. So we deployed this system with like a GIS interface, web and mobile app and so on. In Taiwan, it's kind of like a different, we have a lot of like a different department, different bureau, they have their own data, they have their own system. And it's required to take some time to have those information or even to like integrate with them. So even now still, because the department was kind of divided. They are responsible for certain type of disaster. So something like a water preservation bureau, they are main focus would be the floodings, and some other like a weather bureau or some like a fire department bureau. There are some more incidents and the fire and so on. So luckily we have a kind of like an open data movement in Taiwan. So some of those information, they have the open data interface, and then this system that we provide can not easily. So we can integrate with those data or even submit data to the central government through those interfaces. So that is very important that I think in states or in European area, there's in EU, we thought there's something like called City SDK that can be the interface that we can bridge in the disaster information. In states, maybe some other like data gov in like a repository, but usually that is kind of like a push. So from our experiences, it's really like different from country to country, area to area, and we really need to dig in further about it. If there's nothing, then we can introduce like, okay, it's a one-stop shopping. And if there's a kind of like already some of the system, it would be much better to integrate because they already get used to their system and use that for daily operations. So we should not maybe change that too much, but to doing, okay, there's a new stuff, you want to try that? More like that way. Yes, thank you.
We have time for some other question, if someone else. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, we have one last question.
Oh.
So thank you. I'm Stefania Traverso from Italy, CIMA Foundation, that is a competence center of Italian civil protection. One question is, do you ever provide training for trainers or training for public officers just to understand the value of this application and in consideration of you and many places in the world where the official data are so well designed and it is difficult to pass this idea of using awesome data for emergencies. Mm-hmm. I think that your job is really interesting and the results are obvious at everyone. So what about providing trainings to people working in governmental offices, so to let them understand better the value of this kind of information?
Thank you. Yes, that is very important. So we are more like, just like I mentioned, more like a group of geeks. So it's really not easy for us to prepare the training material or tutorial for that. But we co-work, we team up with some of our partners. In like ADB project, where we team up with the Asian Institute of Technology, and we also team up with Asian Disaster Reduction Center, ADRC. They have like a great experience in how to prepare those material and how to deliver to the community or to the government. So I think it started from that point, we get more sense about, okay, how we can consolidate those ideas and maybe make them to be a kind of like I don't know, promotion video or something like that. So the authority or the government agency or even the university can really get the idea quickly. But I think we still have a lot of things to do on that. But I totally agree with you that we should do some more these kinds of promotion. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Okay, now there is the break and we restart in 30 minutes.